Good evening to the November 12th Commission on Disabilities meeting. If we could salute the flag, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If Pauline Perno, our co-chair, if you could do a roll call of the members.
Absolutely. So Ralph DeChico.
Present.
Pauline Perno is present. Jason Barone. Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. Mario Gramanis.
Present.
Thank you. Ellie Vargas.
Present.
Hi, Ellie. And Anne Marie Curry.
Present. Hi.
Okay. So we have our roll call of the members is done. Item number 1 is a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the October 8th, 2024 meeting. I had sent everyone the minutes from last month's meeting on Friday. Hopefully everyone's able to take a look at them. And if there are any questions on that, if you could let me know. If not, I would like to take a recommendation for a motion to approve.
I approve.
I'll second.
Okay, motion is approved. All in favor, say yes. None, all opposed, say nay.
Yes.
Yay.
Okay. And next item on the agenda, we have a guest speaker this month, who's Terry Koopman, who's the outreach specialist at the Mass Department for Conservation and Recreation, which is the DCR's Universal Access Program. Terry, thank you for joining us. We greatly appreciate it, you taking the time. For all of you that do not know Terry, she was a tremendous help with our All Abilities Day Out at Revere Beach this year. For the first ever day out at Revere Beach, we had a great time, and without her and Rachel, we wouldn't have been able to have the equipment and be able to put it together. So thank you, and thank you for joining us. And I will let you speak, and you can take over and tell a little bit about yourself and the program. And I know you have a presentation for us.
Well, Ralph, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate the commission inviting us to present. And I have worked with the Universal Access Program for about 1 year. So if you have certain questions, I may have to take it back to the team. But I am a white female, use pronouns she, her, and I've got graying hair. And that's probably putting it nicely. But let me get going with the presentation. And let me try sharing my screen. Did that work?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So this is the first slide of DCR Universal Access Program. We basically I have a lot of photos on these slides, so I'll just try and describe them briefly. We've got a top photo of 2 people in a tandem kayak out on a pond, and the bottom photo is 2 people riding a tandem bike. Basically, most people know about DCR, but DCR is a Department of Conservation and Recreation. It's the state department that oversees the state parks throughout Massachusetts. Universal Access Program is a department within DCR, and we help provide outdoor recreation opportunities. And this slide has a logo of DCR and a logo of the Universal Access Program. This next slide tries to summarize ways that Universal Access Program assists DCR in providing accessible recreation opportunities. Really, there's 3 different ways we do that. One is through site improvements, such as advising about ramps, trails, and beaches. Another way is through equipment. So, for example, placing equipment at DCR sites for people to use on their own. And the third way is through adaptive rec programs. We fund adaptive recreation programs such as adaptive hiking, cycling, kayaking, rowing, goes on and on. This slide has a couple different pictures. One is a picture of a yurt at a campsite, an accessible yurt. Another picture is one that Ross familiar with, the floating beach wheelchairs that we have at many of the DCR beaches. And the third picture is of a trail wheelchair, and someone is being assisted with a chariot. So the first thing I want to talk about is just an example of the site improvements. Online, we have this really cool list of accessible trails. And it will talk about the park name, list the city, trail name, talk about the distance, and the type of surface that it has, whether it's paved, stone dust, etc. Also talks about whether something's urban, rural, whether there's anything to see. And so that is on our mass.gov website. And these are just two pictures of a couple accessible trails that are listed on the site. One has the stone dust on it, and the other one has a ramp leading down to a pond. We also place equipment at sites for people to use on their own, so it creates independent opportunities. So some examples of that are beach wheelchairs, beach mats, pool lifts, ice sleds. We also have ice walkers and adaptive golf carts. We also place adaptive equipment with the recreation providers that we fund. So that would include trail chairs, adaptive bikes, kayaks, canoes, and that sort of thing. So it's two ways that we use adaptive equipment to provide accessible opportunities. And these three pictures, the top left one is of someone on a beach in a what we call a sand beach wheelchair, which is different than the floating beach wheelchair. Then there's someone using a paragolfer. And then there's an example of three people with the adaptive wheelchairs out in the trail. And now we're going to move on.
Terry, and
Yes.
1 second. On your slide, top portion of it, there's something being blacked out. There's like a bar going across it. I don't know if you can see that on your screen. There's like a grayed out box on the top of every slide.
Is that better?
No, it's very small now at the top of the pictures.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let me find where I was. Sorry.
If not, I can try.
I need to get rid of it. It says you're screen sharing.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Okay. So our adaptive recreation programs, we primarily fund. We have primary partners and we have supported partners. The primary partners are the ones that we fund to run the adaptive rec programs. And that would include All Out Adventures, Holyoke Groves, Easter Seals, and Waypoint. And then we also have supportive partners. And the supportive partners we don't fund directly, but they do offer adaptive programs at DCR sites. And we support them like through providing accessible toilets or adaptive equipment. And on this slide, there's just 4 different logos of the partners. There's Spalding Rehab, All Out Adventures, Holyoke Groves, Easter Seals, and Waypoint. Now, our adaptive program schedules, we publish seasonally. There's spring, summer, winter, and fall. This slide shows, and we just published our winter adaptive program. So this is an example of what that schedule looks like, at least at the top. We will send these out to our contact list, and it's also available online on our mass.gov Universal Access site. In general, our spring, summer, and fall programs, we offer adaptive hiking, cycling, rowing, kayaking, and canoeing, swimming, and golf. So the slide shows you some examples of those. Again, we have someone using a paragolfer. We have 2 people riding a recumbent tandem trike. We have a group of people hiking, and then we have a group of people out kayak. For our winter programs, we have a variety of offerings, including ice skating, sit skiing, outdoor skating if the weather cooperates, snowshoeing, kick sledding, and cross-country skiing. And these are some examples of these photos are examples of those. One is showing the outdoor rink with some people using ice sleds. We have another slide of someone sitting in an ice sled out on the ice. We have someone going along a trail being pulled, and then we have some people cross-country skiing. I'm highlighting just the supported program we have for winter. That would be with Spalding Adaptive Sports, and they offer sled hockey in Everett at Allied Veterans Memorial Rink, and they also run downhill skiing at Wachusett. And then this final slide is just, I went through our winter program schedule and tried to identify some things that are in the Boston area. Some of these things are only being offered once this winter, and some things are being offered throughout the winter. So it varies a great deal. But these are some examples of adaptive winter programs available in the Boston area. We've got adaptive ice skating going on in East Boston at Prazo. We've got outdoor winter recreation going on in Weston. We have sled hockey going on in Everett. We have adaptive hiking going on at Middlesex Fells. Blue Hills Reservation also has some adaptive hiking, and we have tandem cycling going on at Wampatuck. And this is my last slide. It has my email address and my cell phone number. If anyone wants to be added to our contact list, just let me know and I will add them. We've got a picture from our East Boston skating rink. This is one of our volunteers with someone using an ice sled. They were making funny faces and laughing hysterically. And there's another picture of a wheelchair tandem bike being used in Hadley. And the person in front has daisy glasses on. And that is my presentation. I'm sorry if there were things blocking. I apologize.
I got a question.
Yes.
How do people access that program? Like if people wanted to participate in those activities, how would they go about?
That is a good question. If people are interested in participating in our adaptive recreation program, if that's what you're talking about,
Yes.
then on the winter program schedule, it will list an instruction for who to contact to register. For most of the programs, if you would contact the partner that we contract with. I'm saying that, but it's now winter, and I actually do the registration for 4 of the adaptive skating programs. So that's kind of unusual, but normally you would reach out to the provider. And again, in the winter program schedule, it will list what costs are associated with the program, how to register, and maybe some other things. Like some of the programs, there might be you have to register by a certain time, but you do have to pre-register for all the adaptive rec programs. There
Any other members? Yeah, any other members have any questions?
Hi, yes, I have a question. So I know you mentioned that the site's just been updated to identify the trails and spaces that are accessible. Is there any place to find where the adaptive equipment is available? What different sites the adaptive equipment is available? Like, for example,
that's a good question. Like there's there is a list. It's not one site. All right, so that's actually a good idea. but we don't have that. There's a list of like beach wheelchairs and where they're at. There's another list that has the ice sleds and where those are located. And we don't have a lot of other equipment that is available for people to use independently. And part of that is just because of cost and maintenance. But we do have posted online the ice sleds and the beach wheelchairs. And if you can't find those, I have the list and I can share them.
Great, thank you. And I know that there's a new initiative, the Trails for All, that's being rolled out. Is that correct?
That is being rolled out, and I'm sorry I didn't participate in that first meeting, but I did have two of my colleagues like Rachel, and we have a program manager that participated. But yes, that is rolling out, and we were included in that.
That's great. That would be great. Thank you
Now,
so much.
thank you, Anne Marie. Now, I have a question that some of that you have certain dates and times for some of these programs and locations, is especially with the adaptable sleds. Is DCI Universal Access Program, are they open to host any other types of independent programs, such as how they did the All Abilities wheelchair, All Abilities Beach Day? Is there any types of ways that commissions or groups could be able to create an event and use the Universal Access Group for the sleds to be brought to a location to host an event, or is it just basically just at that one location? I know they basically do it out of the for certain times, but is there a way to do a program specifically tailored for a specific event, one-time event? Is that something that's available, or something that DCI or Universal Access Program is looking at possibly doing, or is it an idea that's being brought up?
Well, we have a limited number of sleds that are available at quite a few rinks, but that is different than if you want, like when we run our programs, we bring out a lot of additional sleds and equipment. I would say that basically would have to ask our program manager to see if we have the staff who would be able to provide that. There's a chance. We just have a small staff.
Right.
So for us, sometimes the limitations is just we don't have many people. And sometimes we are making like a list of people who are making requests so that we can bring it forward and let people know we need more staff. And that being said, sometimes they are able to accommodate. So we were able to assist with your event this summer.
Right.
Sometimes we have to direct people to the partners that we contract with if they want to set up something and they need some additional supports. The other complication with our equipment is everyone's got to sign a release form.
Right.
So it kind of depends on staffing supports and that sort of thing. But I would say, bring it forward and we would run it by management and see what they say. It's
Now
not something we do regularly because we're short staffed.
Now the sleds at the skating rinks. I know that they do it at the rink in East Boston. Is there a set amount of sleds that are there that are always there for that? Are they brought in for that? Are they housed there, or for that program that you're running there?
We have there's a list of ice sleds that is available online, and it'll say how many sleds are available where.
Okay.
But for those, like the East Boston program, we load a bunch of sleds and a bunch of of walkers and a bunch of helmets and that sort of thing in Amherst, and we bring it all the way down. We haul it all the way down to East Boston. We unload it, set up everything, and then we pack everything back up and take it. There's some sleds that are available in East Boston all the time, but not like what we bring for the programs. Because for our programs, we can have up to 125 people, so we bring quite a bit.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions?
How can I get onto the contact call or whatever list you were doing earlier? I'm interested.
Okay, cool. Then basically you can, if you want to email me and just give me your email address,
Okay.
then when I'm back in the office, because I'm clearly at home right now, but as soon as I'm back in the office, I can add you to the big contact list. And we send out the program schedule as an accessible Word document and a PDF. And if anyone, my email address is my name, so it's TERI dot, and then my middle initial L dot, and then my last name KOOPMAN, and it's at mass.gov, MASS.gov.
Thank you.
Add you.
Any other questions? Any other members have any questions?
I just have a real quick one. What happens like if there was an event that was going on outside and then the weather turns, like what do you do? Do you reschedule that or is it called off? And then I mean, how far in advance do these things get booked up so that, because we all know what winter is like in New England.
All right. Well, as far as how quickly things get booked, I want to say it sometimes it varies by program.
Mm-hmm.
I will say our things that are out east in the Boston area tend to fill quickly. Some things like, some things fill very, very quickly. I opened up ice skating like when the program schedule came out last week, and I'm surprised. I'm getting slammed by people who are interested, which is great. It's
Good.
just that so things can fill up. Some of the things may already be full depending on what you're interested in. So
Mhm.
again, it varies, but particularly out east, things fill up quickly. As far as whether we generally the people who are contracted to run the program is the one who makes the call on whether something goes on or not,
Okay.
and their response to it varies. It depends on the situation. We
Mm-hmm.
had situations where it wasn't cold enough to run anything wintry, and there's a few locations they can move it to an ice rink because there's an ice rink nearby. There's other ones where if the weather is not conducive, they'll notify everyone the morning of, maybe the day before. Depends on how much information they have to go by.
Right.
Last year, since I've only been here a year, last year we had a relatively easy. I had more experiences hearing about winter weather not holding up, so you couldn't snowshoe and you had to just go out and hike versus having to cancel something because it was too snowy. But yeah, whoever is contracted to run the program is the one that makes the call.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And Terry, I put your last page up for your presentation that had your contact information if anyone
Thank
wants
you.
to be added to the contact list. But if anyone does, since no one else has any other questions, Terry, I just wanted to thank you for your time with this presentation. Hopefully, a lot of people now know about all the different programs that the Universal Access Program does have, and they can also contact you or go right to the DCR's website.
Absolutely.
And
Yes,
learn
please
about
contact me
it.
if you have any questions or you're interested in registering for something and I can direct you, or if it's skating, I may be able to even register you.
Right.
Thank you very much, Ralph.
But I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right,
Thank you so
bye-bye.
much for your time.
Thank
Bye-bye
you.
now.
Thank you.
Okay. Jason's been trying, you've noticed him trying to communicate with him. He's having trouble trying to get in. I don't know, he couldn't find the email, but it's the same email and I resend it on Tuesday morning. So I don't know what the issue that he's having trying to get in. But I'm going to go on to item number 3, which is updates and next steps from our October 8th meeting. I'm trying to see if what it is any updates from Pauline and Marie regarding the calendar for future monthly guest speakers, and I'll open it up to both of you for any updates on that.
No updates on my end. No one in the pipeline yet.
I hear you on that.
Okay.
I did not hear back from the Revere Fire Department. However, I have reached out to an organization called Partners for Youth with Disabilities, and they target that adolescent going into the early 20s, etc. And they've got a number of different programs. So I've contacted them, and I'm waiting for one of their resource people to reach back out, and hopefully I can get them in for our December meeting. It sounds like it's almost, I've seen some work that they've done, but they do like a conglomerate. They have an arts program where it's not just like painting arts, it's art, poetry, and mini plays and things like that. So performing arts, as well as some sports type things, music type things. So it's kind of an all inclusive. And I thought that maybe, seeing as, we've had the Federation in here to target the kids in the school system, preschool and school age, that maybe we need to try reaching out to that next general population of that once they've aged out of the school system, what happens then? So I'm waiting to hear back. Hopefully I'll have some good news for our December meeting.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Item number 4 is as a continuation is a discussion regarding the Community Music Center of the Boston proposal. As a commission, we always seek programs we can implement and Revere to benefit children and young adults with disabilities. I know, Anne Marie, you had emailed me some information that we were going to possibly discuss at our meeting here. So I didn't know if you wanted to take that on now, or if you wanted me to pull up that information, since I know you got most of the questions answered.
Sure, if you could pull up the information, that would be great.
Just give me a second.
I know we haven't had a chance to discuss it, but I don't know if it's possible.
Okay. Let me try and share my screen. Just give it a second to pop up onto. Is everyone able to see this?
Yes.
Yes.
So this is Anne Marie had reached out. So I'll let you talk about it, Anne Marie, since I popped it out.
Sure. So to bring it to the community, there are 2 different options that they offer. One is a workshop for caretakers, family members, caregivers, to give them knowledge of how to support developmental milestones with music. And the second option is for the actual classes for the children. So I think that it looks like Rachel gave us a breakdown for the classes, but I don't think that she gave us a cost for the workshops.
Right.
She mentioned that would be 1 or 2 that they would do like per group, per family. So I don't know if it's feasible, but in my opinion, I think if it's possible, it would be better to do both a workshop and the classes, just so the family members could have support and knowledge of what's actually happening in the classes, and after how to implement it at home, to carry on with the therapy. So I don't know, Ralph, do we have a location that we could?
Well, that's what I was going to talk about after, that I would, what my feelings are is if we were to implement a program such as this, I would want to partner with the Rivera Recreation Center, and possibly see about bringing, this type of a program into the Garfield Community Center, the George V. Colella Community Center, which is housed in the Garfield School, to be able to bring this type of a program into there. Because I also on my commission member late items, I'm going to talk about something else in conjunction with this. But that's what I want to discuss with this commission is, that is my my thoughts on doing something like this, is we would try and partner with the Revere Parks and Recreation Center. We would we would fund this through the Commission on Disabilities, because it is a program for children and young adults with disabilities. We can be able to use the funds that we collect for the handicap funds that we collect, because we are able to collect this through Chapter 40, Section 22G. So we do receive those funds, and they're allocated to the Commission on Disabilities to use for programs such as that, for as long as they're being used for people with disabilities in our community, or for any type of infrastructure work that benefits people with disabilities. So that is my thoughts on that. So I wanted to see what the commission felt on that. Of course, we would probably have a minimal fee for the families, to help incur some of the costs, but a majority of the costs would be handled from the Commission on Disabilities to pay for it.
I think my only thought also is Rachel mentioned that they like to cap it out at around 15 per
Right.
class. So,
Right.
I mean, would we do a first come, first serve basis?
Yeah.
Would we?
Yeah, it would be a first come, first serve. This is a type of program that I would want to run. I would probably want to run it, not just on a one-time basis. It's something that I probably want to run seasonal, or more than one time a year. And when I'm saying one time, I'm meaning the full entire session, as many weeks for the entire program. So they're basically in this proposal, she was saying how many weeks it would be per
Mhm.
per program. If the if it was either a workshop um, or the weekly programming price. So that's something that I need to get more clarification for each session. How many weeks do they think the session should be?
I don't know the answer to that, but I will find out.
Yeah, because I don't know if it'd be like an 8-week session, a 7-week session, but we would want to probably do, complete sessions, but do multiple complete sessions. This way we could be able to enroll numerous people into this type of a program. And it all depends on the amount of participation that we have, along with the availability of space in the location that I'm thinking that we could possibly use. And I believe that we did get some answers at the space requirement that they would come to Revere, but I don't think there's any specifications on what the space needs to be, requirements and whatnot. I'm assuming it just needs to be a large enough room to house 15 participants. Probably like classroom size, or something like that.
Yes, and the only thing she mentioned was that there be one adult, I think, per class, just one other adult in the class other than themselves.
Mhm. Right, that's why I'm looking at possibly partnering with the rec center. But like I said, there would be no cost involved with the Pop Revere Parks and Recreation Center, um, except for one of their staff that's hopefully at the Garfield School at the same time, to be able to do this. But if we
Okay.
would have to find some other means to do that, then we would have to explore that. Anyone else have any other input on this? Of course, I'm going to be relying on Anne Marie and Pauline to help facilitate this if we are to move forward on it.
Sure.
I had a thought and it just fleed. I don't remember. I'm sorry. When they said 15 participants, so because I'm looking at this seeing that like the first part of it where it's the workshop for the caretakers. So would that just be an adult family member for each of the participants that will be coming to the actual class?
I believe so. Yes, I believe so.
All right. I was just getting confused when you said one other adult, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, how's that going? That was my thought. It just came.
That would be for the actual class with the
Right.
young adults and the children.
Right. Okay.
Yes. So the workshop is just for the parents and caretakers, whereas the other one is for the children themselves. So the workshop is just to teach the parents and caregivers on ideas and ways to do this.
Okay. I was just concerned that,
I don't want to. I'm not saying it is. I'm just
yeah,
reaching out to Anne Marie if that's what her impression of it was.
Yes, I guess it's more so. So once all of these classes are finished, how do you then implement that at home to continue, to
right.
help with the therapy and implement it at home?
Right. Okay. That makes a whole lot more sense. I was just concerned that you're going to get a parent in there for that initial one, and then, are they going to be faced with being so overwhelmed? Are they going to, then back out of it? And what do you do about, you don't want to start off with having like everything all set and then having parents back out or caregivers back out because of the commitment to it, because it is a commitment after that however many weeks that each program is.
Right.
So that's all I'm thinking of, is that how do you, let's look at retention. How do you retain people? Is there another way that this group could also support those parents in learning those techniques and bridging that, going from a community group into their home?
Mhm.
That would be my whole thought process.
Yeah. And one thing what we do is when we if we do implement this program, once we would start, it would be that specific amount of children and parents would stay in that group. We wouldn't be able to add people once that session started.
Right.
So until we either did it again or there was a new session
Okay, got it.
is what is my thought process on creating a program such as this.
Well, that would be my
Wrong.
process
I may
as
be wrong. Yeah, I may be wrong. Because I haven't had a one-on-one with them, and I know Anne Marie's done a lot of work on this, so I may be speaking out of term.
I think also the workshop isn't just solely, for implementation at home. It's also to educate the parents on the benefits of what the classes will be, what the children will be receiving. Just more of an educational tool for the parents to understand what these classes are going to be.
So,
And like anything else, if they choose to implement it at home, it's up to them. But at least they'll have the skills and the tools to do so if they decide
right.
that that's something that they'd like to do.
am I correct by saying that it's more beneficial that if we run the workshop program first before we implement the student portion of it? And that the
I was
parents,
just thinking, yeah, I was just thinking that and interested in hearing feedback on what everybody else thinks. But I would think that would be the best way to do it, but I'm not sure.
yeah. Because I'm thinking is this way the parents can see if we can get parents to come and take part in the workshops, so that they can find out more about it, and then they would decide if they also want, something that they want to possibly do at home, but
Right.
also put their child, or young adults into the program for the next portion of it, and see how that goes. And at the same time, they would be able to take what they would learn in at the workshops to continue that at home while their child or young adult is going to be attending the program.
Right.
I would think, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I just want to make sure I'm on the same page as everyone. All right. So that's my ideas on that. Anyone else want to add anything to that? Or like I said, unfortunately I myself don't have the time um, to be trying to follow through on getting all this information from them, and I'm going to need to rely on Pauline and Anne Marie if that is okay with you, to do that, both of you to do that, or
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I just don't
Um,
want to put any. I don't want to put anything on you that you can't do or don't have the time to do.
No, not at all. I'm happy to. And you can always send me a list of questions that you need answered, or, and I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
Do Anne Marie whichever way I can. So I'm good.
Thank you, Pauline.
All I have to say is I appreciate you guys putting that time and effort.
Okay. Yeah. So, and like I said, I'm gonna just we'll leave this open as an open item on the agenda, to keep going, and I'm gonna let you and try implementing this, what the next steps would be, and once we can figure out on how to do this, and then we would have to do an outreach campaign to see if there is a want and need from people to want to have this program, and then I can have I've had a preliminary discussion with the rec center about this, and when we move down to late items, I will be able to talk more about on that. Does anyone else have any other questions about this? I'm going to stop sharing my screen unless anyone else wanted to see anything else on this. Let me stop sharing that.
Very exciting.
Hi, Jason. Glad you were able to get in. No, this is very exciting. If we could try and start something like this, it would be very beneficial to the children and young adults and their families. Um, something that I've been wanting to try. I did run a program years ago through the rec center. It was on a smaller scale. I believe it was 8 or 10 week art program that Miss Sally helped me with out of the rec center at night. But of course, the issue always is retention, keeping the parents and the children engaged, to want to keep attending. So hopefully something like this will be beneficial to both, and they'll want to be staying engaged in it. Um, Item number 5 was the Dakota Commission on Disabilities Alliance. As I mentioned, there was no November meeting, so there's nothing to report, and the next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, December 4th via Zoom. Item number 6 is the commission members' late items and information. And like I mentioned, there was one item, well, actually two, but one item that I wanted to mention that goes hand in hand with the music program. I was in discussions with the Revere Parks and Rec Center. They are looking to implement an art program for young adults, teenagers and young adults with disabilities, and they were looking to do something that was supposed to start, I believe, this fall, but because of some staff changes and turnovers, it never it never was established or came to fruition. So now they're revisiting it, and I had some discussions with them that the Commission on Disabilities has been always looking to implement some programs, and this is something that we would be happy to partner with on the financial aspect of it, because since it is for young adults and teenagers with disabilities, we would be able to fund a program like that. The rec center, of course, would be running it, but in partnership with the Commission of Disabilities, we would be able to pay for this. And this is something that they would be running out of the community center. So I've had preliminary talks with Jen Duggan, that has been talking on behalf of the director, Michael Hanojosa, and gave them some ideas about that. And they were going to go back and try and logistically figure a few things out and get back to me. So at that time, that's when I had mentioned the music program. That is something that I would want to also partner with them and try doing, that we were in the process of getting some more information on. So I'm hoping that art program is something else that we can be a part of and help. So I wanted to see what the commission thought also on that.
I think it's a great idea. I think the more programs we can get, the better.
Yeah. Because as I mentioned to the Parks and Rec Center, we don't have the bandwidth to do the programs ourselves. We do have some financial flexibility in order to help pay for programs like this. And the rec center does have the flexibility for bandwidth and locations, but they don't have the financial means to do it. So that's why it would be a great partnership with us, because we'd be able to help implement programs tailoring to children and young adults with disabilities.
Do
So
they,
it's
anybody-
win-win.
excuse me, do they have anybody in mind that would be teaching? I don't, or teaching?
Yeah, they
Teach-
do. Yeah, I believe so. I believe they do, and they have a cost for it, and they have all that. Yeah, so it's just logistically trying to put everything together, do that. And what the cost associated with it would be. There'll still be a minimal cost for the participants, but the majority of the cost would be hopefully will be able to be sustained by the Commission on Disability.
Got it.
So hopefully, does anybody have any questions on that or any comments about that, or then there's also other things that I have a whole gamut in my head that I'd love to see. I'd love to see us be able to then, if this all takes off, I know this is not something that would happen overnight, but possibly bring in some partners out there to bring in some sports programs for people with disabilities, outside vendors to come in that we'd be able to add those programs as part of the rec center, such as wheelchair basketball for people with disabilities, or on all abilities soccer, or things of that nature, indoor soccer at the Garfield. So there's a bunch of different things that I want to have further discussions with the rec center on, but trying to implement some of that type of programming.
It's a good idea, yeah, because I know it's usually not that much stuff for people with disabilities. So these activities more would be good to get people engaged and involved.
Yeah. And this is all type of program that we should be able to fund. Not only programs, but as I mentioned before, projects such as accessibility and structural projects that the commission is going to, when we can, try and help fund. Leading into that, I know the Revere Council Chamber has had discussions past and discussions with me to help them look at where they could find an accessible podium for the council chambers. Because right now, a lot of when you go to the council chambers, is the podium is just a standalone. It's not accessible for everyone. So a couple of years ago, before I had funding, they looked at it, but it was very expensive. And the city didn't have funds allocated for it. But I had recently contacted appropriate people and let them know that if they, found out the exact cost and went through the process, that the Commission on Disabilities could possibly and would pay for that accessible podium for the council chambers. And that could be paid for through the funding that we received through Chapter 40, Section 22G, since that would benefit people with disabilities going to council meetings or any other meetings in the council chambers. So we're trying to do as much as we can, and we're always welcome to suggestions and ideas. I was hoping, and I'm not positive, I'm not sure, but I don't believe the accessible signs have still been put up in City Hall. I'm not sure because I'm not there, so I'm not sure if that's so. Hopefully, if it hasn't been done, it is soon to be done. But there's a lot that needs to be done, and hopefully will be done, because we are a community that really looks out for people of all abilities, and try and make this a lot friendlier community for all. No, if there's any comments or questions, concerns about that, or everybody's quiet tonight.
No, I'm thinking. Are there companies that build the podiums
They're right. Yeah. It's a pre-made podium. It's pre-made podiums.
pre-made?
Yeah. Yep.
Who knew? I mean, I didn't know. I never
Yeah,
gave
there's all different types. There's electric ones. There's all different types. They can range anywhere from $6,000 to $20,000, depending upon the bells and whistles.
really.
Yes.
Huh. Good
They're
to know.
electric ones, so they can go up and down for wheelchair accessibility and all different types of accessibility needs.
Nice. Huh. I've learned something tonight. I love it.
Does any other members have any late items or information that they'd like to include? Since we are on item.
Well, I guess the only thing I would say, unfortunately, and I hate to say it, I'm going to remind everybody, don't forget 2000's election when all that stuff was removed about IEPs and other educational items that are needed. Please go to, the Fed websites, pull it up, save it, because you may not be able to find it going next year. Just put it out there for importance for those that might need it for their children, because that can be very difficult.
Anyone else?
Just a reminder, note of interest, now that the time change has occurred and it's getting dark very early, just keep an extra heads up if you are, whether you're in a car, on a bike, walking, in a mobility aid, whatever, crossing down on the beach. It has become, especially with the construction vehicles that are here, and they're still here when it starts getting very, very dark. The visibility down there is horrible. Again, there's nothing lit other than the regular street lights. But again, I'd like to at some point see if we can somehow get a letter to, I know it's not Revere's jurisdiction, but maybe get a letter together, and I will be happy to draft one about installing the flashing pedestrian signs down on the crosswalks down on the beach, because I've nearly been hit. I've almost hit someone, and I would hate to see anybody get put in that position where they become, in any matter, shape, or form involved in an accident. It's just a terrific there.
If you could draft a letter, we
I
could
would
possibly send that to our state delegation Representative Turco.
do.
Yeah, and then once the letter is drafted, we can bring it to at our next meeting, so that we can all review it, and then we can make a motion to send that to the delegation, and we can sign it as a commission.
Thank you.
Okay. Just remind me when it's done to add that to an agenda item when it's done for whenever our next
I
meeting is.
will.
When I send out to everyone, if you want to add something to the agenda.
Great.
Anyone else have anything they'd like to add? Item number 8. Item number 7. Residents' concerns, issues. There were none, but I just want to review for the public the process for anyone applying for a handicap sign. There is a process. There's an application process for anyone in this criteria, for anyone wanting to apply for handicap sign in front of their. Please feel free to visit the Commission on Disabilities webpage. There is a need to know and what to do before you apply for a handicap sign. Then there's also a driver-only application if you are the driver of the registered vehicle at that address applying for a handicap sign, or there is a passenger only if you are the resident at the home, but the handicap sign application is for someone else in your home that you live with, such as a child, a parent, or a spouse. So that one would be the passenger only application. And then there's also the medical application that has to be filled out by your doctor. Once that information is filled out, that all gets sent into the Commission on Disabilities along by mail, along with a copy of your driver's license, a copy of your placard, which you must have before you can even apply for a handicap sign, and a copy of your vehicle registration. If none of that is submitted, then we cannot even move on to the next step of the process, which would be once that is received, it all will then get sent to the Traffic Commission, so that at their next scheduled monthly meeting, they can ask to have a public hearing at their following month's meeting. And I then send all the information that I received to them for that public hearing, along with photos of your address, letting them know if it does meet the criteria that is stated in the need to know that you received, such as not having an handicap accessible driveway, the resident filled out all the paperwork, and parking is allowed in front of your residence. And there is in this and there are no meters and so forth and so on. The Traffic Commission is the sole entity that makes the decision to grant or deny a handicap sign application. It is not the Commission on Disabilities. We are just a facilitator in making sure that all the correct documentation, I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and then gets then submitted to the Traffic Commission. I know there's been some issues, and I've been receiving some phone calls from people that I sent in my application and there's still no sign at my house. And we try and call the people and let them know what we're waiting for. Sometimes there is language barriers that I use. I use different employees from the city that speak their language to call and also leave them messages or speak to them. So we try and do our best to get all the information for people, because we do not want them to not have all the proper information and forms filled out in order to obtain a handicap sign, because we don't want them to wait any longer than possible, and we want to have this process done correctly and as efficiently and as fast as possible. So I just thank you to the commission for allowing me to reiterate that and state that to everyone. I just wanted to get that out, but like I said, everything is under the Commission on Disabilities page under the City of Revere on how to apply for a handicap parking sign and what you need to know and what needs to be submitted. Item number 8 is next steps. What we have for next steps is basically a carryover from number 3 is if we have any future monthly guests for the calendar. And also item number 4 is more information for the Community Music Center, which Anne Marie and Pauline will be working on both item number 3 and number 4 as next steps for our next meeting. And also we'll keep it as a next step for Pauline is going to be working on drafting a letter to our state delegation so that we could bring it up at our next meeting regarding hopefully the installation and suggestion to install flashing crosswalk signs on the boulevard. Did I think I said everything that needed to be said?
You did it.
Okay. Item number 9 is our monthly reminder. Pauline, do you mind reading that?
I would love to.
Not everybody has to keep hearing my state.
Thank you. The Commission on Disabilities office number is 781-286-8267. Residents can also call Revere 311 directly and speak to their staff Monday through Friday. They will answer most questions, but if they cannot, or if you want to talk directly to our department, ask to be transferred to the disability office. Please leave a detailed message and someone will get back to you soon. As always, don't hesitate to contact us if you want something discussed or added to our monthly meeting agenda. You can also let us know if you want to speak about any issue or concern. The Commission is here to help and assist all of the disabled residents and families of Revere.
And just to add, the state's disability office, the disability office is a virtual office. I neglect to mention that all the time. So it is a virtual office. So that's why we ask you to leave us a detailed message and we will get back to you as soon as we can. Before I ask for a motion to adjourn, our next meeting via Zoom will be on Tuesday, December 12th. 2024 at 6 p.m. Should I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Jason, all in favor say aye. All they say no. Motion accepted.
Motion. Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Just wanted to take this time, since we will not be meeting until after the Thanksgiving holiday, to wish everyone happy and healthy Thanksgiving. And as always, I appreciate the COD members. You all work hard, and we're a team here. And without all of you, we would not get a lot of the work done that we need to get done to help the people of our community. So thank you.
Pleasure.
Have a nice night.
Right. No, yeah.
Everyone.
Thank you, everyone.